We'll start with an update on Fraser Kerr and Gavin Gunning, if we can. What's the prognosis on their injuries from the week?
Good news on Fraser. So we'll start with the good news today, shall we? Good news. Bad knock. The structure of his knee's okay. Shouldn't be long term. Unfortunately, Gavin's obviously a hamstring one, which is pretty clear when he pulled up. But again, that's pretty good news. That could be a quicker recovery than we first thought. So, medium good, bad to good news on Gavin. Good news on Fraser.
In terms of timescales, though, I imagine neither will be available this weekend. How long is it going to be before we see either back?
I would imagine you're right. Gavin will be more long term than Fraser.
Leaves you a little limited in defence at the minute, but I mean that, as ever, provides opportunities for others.
Yeah, we've obviously got Hayden, Joseph Yarni and Will Evans, so not necessarily. It obviously disrupts perhaps the way we want to play because different players have got different attributes. But Hayden's more than capable of coming in there, and he showed that when he came on the pitch. I thought he was excellent, as I said in my post-match. So I have no qualms of whoever comes in there. I'm sure will be good enough to get results.
Any other absentees for this weekend that we don't know about?
None at the moment. Everyone's training hard, but sometimes, obviously, in this process now till the end of the season with the large amount of games, there's only so much information I can feed out to the media and to everybody in the building and stuff, because obviously it changes day to day because players are tired mentally and physically. So it's our job as a staff to make sure we pick the right team to produce the energy on the pitch.
After the game in the week, you said that the question to ponder was if you'd done enough to equalise in the game. So having thought about it, did you?
Good question. I think that looking at the statistics, looking at the game as a whole, reflecting on it and watching it back, a very close game between two good teams. I'm really obviously disappointed of how the goal was conceded, without going into detail again on that. But in tight games like that, those small details matter. And if you've got something to hang on to, which we did at theirs, you could say it was a tight game at Gander Green Lane and we won 1-0. I think they've come out of a tight game in their favour this time, 1-0. So, but I would like to think about how far we've come. If we've got 61% of the ball and 50% of our passes in that half, our positional play was good. It was that final bit. And you've got to give the opposition credit. They defended well. But their gamemanship was probably a little bit better than us. Their use of the officials, the claim of the decision-making was a little bit over the top. OTT, we won't behave in that manner as a club ever. And I'll be disappointed if the players did. We won't be doing that here. But we lost 1-0. We take a lot from that, though. Like I said, we've come so far. If we're losing to the top of the table 1-0 and everyone's disappointed around the club, I want that. That shows we've got winners in the supporters base. We've got winners in the building. But we mustn't dwell. It's also key that we kick on after wins and losses, like I've said. So we will. We've forgotten about that. Everything's geared to Barnet. It has been since yesterday. And we're really excited to get going again tomorrow.
A couple of games without scoring. Is there anything that you could do better or differently from an attacking perspective, do you feel?
You could say that in the two games, obviously, we haven't perhaps hit the back of the net and maybe not had enough shots on target for the positional play we've got in, because even at Maidenhead, we've got more final third entries and more penalty area entries, so that's the last little bit. Everyone points to, obviously, maybe you should play with two strikers or whatever, but I think I answered that after the game. We're playing with three forwards just in different ways, and in some games it has worked. The Yeovil 3-0, for example, we played in the same way and scored three, should have scored more. So, we'll set up the best we can to score as many as we can in every game, and we want to be on the front foot. If we've got possession like that in a game, you would expect to create a little bit more. So it happens, and I'm sure if we continue, someone's in for a thumping.
It was Villalone, Jack Clark's first 90 minutes. Are you pleased with the progress you've seen from him?
Yeah, he was excellent, wasn't it? He took the ball really well. I really loved it when he drove past Eastman, who's an experienced National League player who's showed his qualities again. I thought him and his battle with Curtis in there was like two gladiators coming together. I thought they tried till the end, both of those two, and I don't think one got the better of the other. I thought it was those two are probably two of the best midfielders in the league. I do like Craig. I think he brings a lot to the table, but Curtis as well. And I really loved that battle, watching that from the sideline. It must have been good for the neutral if they're really watching the game. But I loved how Jack took the ball past him, and Eastman's trying to get back at him, and he's fending him off, and he went past him. I thought that was really good. It shows really what we've been working on with him. That mental strength to carry on taking the ball, to drive forward with it, and he showed a lot of maturity and athleticism in his game as well as technical ability. So I think there's a player there for sure. I know there is because I've studied his game. It's just now, can he do it consistently for us in the National League?
And in terms of Nathan Tyson, that's increased game time now over the last 3 or 4 games. Has he got an important role to play for the rest of the season, whether it's from the start or off the bench?
Yeah, listen, if you've got Nathan Tyson in your squad, he's fit and ready to go, he's going to add value to any squad at this level. And he's certainly, now he's in the reckoning and we're getting minutes into him, he's building, and his sharpness is coming on in training as well.
Looking ahead to Barnet then, 7th in the table last season, really struggling this season. Has that taken you by surprise?
Well, yeah, you would say that they're probably an ex-league club, aren't they? They've been in the league for a long time before they've dropped back down. 4 or 5 years was it before the last time they won this league? So, of course, I'm not sure if there's budgetary restraints there. It doesn't look like it from their recruitment. I think it'll be a different game to when they came here, as they've shown against Bromley and Stockport, getting a draw at Bromley most recently, and also narrowly losing out at Stockport in the 83rd minute. I think that it'll be a different game. I think the manager's come out and said they've got 11 warriors or whatever they've said in the media. So I've just been told that this morning from the staff. So they're going to be right up for it, and we've got to make sure that we play to our potential. But I'm confident. I think the players, it's important they take the ball tomorrow and they're brave that way. Bravery comes in different ways, and for me, bravery tomorrow is taking the ball and making sure you are continually taking the ball to the end of the season, because wins and losses can't affect the mindset. And we have to be consistent in our behaviours. And I think we're getting there in the environment. We've come such a long way. If we're really disappointed losing 1-0 to the league leaders, who are not just the league leaders, they're 6 points ahead with 3 games in hand, aren't they? Or 2 games in hand. So it would seem that they're running away with it at the moment. So we mustn't be too disappointed, and we must take a lot of positives from Tuesday night.
Barnet just a 1 league win since October. I mean, some would be looking at this as ideal opponents after a couple of defeats, but I imagine football doesn't necessarily work like that.
It doesn't, but you could say, teams could say the same for our form when I first come in the building. Weymouth or those early games that we lost 4 on the bounce or something. So, and we've only won 2 in 9 or whatever it was, or 10. So, it can change quickly. Form can change quickly. We've just got to concentrate on ourselves, though. Stats are stats. You could say we've lost 3 out of 5, or we've won 2 out of 4. Or we've lost 4 out of 18. You can dress them up and cut the cut-off point on all stats can work in anyone's favour. So you've got to remember that. You can only quantify so much information. What we've got to make sure is we're consistent in our behaviours. We continue to play the way we are, because under pressure, I want to give the players credit on Tuesday night. We've come out at half-time and we have pinned the opposition in. We have had 60% of the ball still. So that's probably been a long time since we can say that against the league leaders, that we've had 60% of the ball. Now you've got to do more of that. Our XG was 0.68 or whatever it was, which probably isn't enough for the ball we've had. But at least we've had the ball, and at least we've got in positions to affect the game, and at least we've continued to push till the end. And the players really gave it their all, and they were so disappointed afterwards, which I love to see as well. It shows they care, the staff care, and we're heading in the right direction.
You've already beaten Barnet 6-0 this season. It's the kind of scoreline that players on both sides find it tough to forget.
Perhaps, but I think they've had some recruitment, haven't they, since then? 4 or 5 have come in or whatever. But yeah, perhaps they could play on their minds. We're definitely going to go there to win the game, and hopefully we'll be on the coach at 5 o'clock or after 5 o'clock, 5:30, whenever we get back on the coach with the 3 points.
I was reading that obviously Tim Flowers has come in and departed after just 3 months. He was backed, by his own words, by 9 players coming in. That showed just how important it is to get your recruitment right. Exactly.
And again, talking about where we were and where we are now. We've got some good players in the building that have come in and joined the project, if you like, or the process. We're really pleased to obviously sign Kwasi again up to a new contract, so he's prolonging his stay. I thought there's a few things on Tuesday in a tight game where on another day he would have scored, where he's wriggled through and just missed hit his shot. And I thought he showed real glimpses of class out there, to be honest, on Tuesday. So, yeah, it's massive recruitment, but it's also important that you get the right characters in so you can get the consistent behaviours in the building. As you can imagine, the players don't see me too often. They see me on the training pitch, they see me in analysis, we're talking about the game a lot, we eat together, but the staff see the players perhaps more than me, or the kit man, or the physiotherapist. So it's important that everyone's on the same wavelength, and that's how you get the consistent behaviours, and that's how you ensure that you react correctly from wins, and the highs, and also the lows.
I mean, taking Dover out, we're still obviously waiting to find out what happens with them. But Barnet, 11 points adrift of other people towards the bottom of the table. With no relegations this season, it perhaps makes it a really interesting situation for them, doesn't it? Normally they'd be probably staring down relegation right now and feeling all forlorn. But at the minute, it's like, okay, so apart from personal pride, what really have they got to play for this season?
Yeah, it can work both ways, couldn't it? Because you could be uptight if you're in a relegation battle, but you can play with freedom because now they've got nothing to lose. So you can look at it many ways. It's the unknown, and I don't want to study that too much. I just know that if we're right, we play to our potential, we win the game.
Yeah, because I imagine there's a danger that as the season goes on, more and more teams sort of go out of contention towards the top end of the division, that this may come into it. But like you just said, all you can really do is focus on yourselves and make sure that you're playing at your best week in, week out, irrespective of what's happening with the opposition. For
sure, yeah. All energy has to go into ourselves. Obviously, we need to be aware and respect the opponent. I fully respect the players that Barnet have got. But all our energy needs to be focused on, okay, how can we influence it the best we can? What ball positions do we want to get into? Can we be better with our last actions in the final third in the penalty area when it comes in? Can we look like more of a goal threat? But without being too dramatic about just the 2 losses and 4 and 18. Let's concentrate and realise, let's take a step back, realise how far we've come. We're nearly averaging 2 points a game, right on the cusp of that, and that's promotion form. So another 18 performances like that. I know we've got 17 games left. If we accumulate the same amount of points, we won't be far wrong.
Good man. Thanks, James.
Thanks, Adam. Cheers. Thanks.
Good morning, James.
Hi, Liam.
Given the injuries to Gavin Gunning and Fraser Kerr, are you tempted to bring in any more defensive reinforcements to just give you that bit more strength in depth?
No, I'm very happy with the squad. I think we're in a good place with the players that are in and around it as well, that haven't quite had enough starts perhaps in the last few weeks. But as I've said from the start, we're going to need the squad, whether that's mental fatigue, physical fatigue, injuries, etc. So that comes into practice now. That comes to the forefront of what we need to do. And with another game coming Tuesday and then Saturday, we need to make sure we play with energy.
How important is it to stick together as a group, given this little mini blip?
Of course, you're going to get losses. The best teams in the world lose games, as we saw last night. It's people are talking about mini blips, etc. You're going to lose games. I don't want to really classify it as that. It's not that. It's we come up against two good teams. I think Maidenhead, they scored at the right times. They showed that they're home worth a gain with another thumping victory on Tuesday, so they're going to be in and around it the rest of this season, clearly. And obviously the league leaders was a very tight game, decided on a referee's decision, so let's not get dramatic about it. It is what it is. It was a real close game. We had the ball. They dominated the space a little bit better than us, so they defended really well. They counter-attacked quite well, but again, they've limited to hardly any shots on our goal. So overall, our final actions weren't good enough in that game, perhaps, but what a close game, and it was a good game as well by the feedback I've had from people close to me, the neutrals, coaches that were in the stand. It was a good game between two good teams, and I wish Sutton the best. I wasn't happy with some of the antics they got up to, but it is what it is. That's what they've done to win the game. It's a fair game. It's the same pitch. It's the same officials. There's 2 goals. There wasn't 3 goals on the pitch, and there's 1 ball. And we all had the same outliers, and they've come out with a 1-0 victory. But the reverse fixture, I think we did the same to them. So, they take 3 points from us. We take 3 points from them.
Do you think, in a strange sort of way, you've almost become a victim of your own success in that the rise when you came in was so incredible, and then suddenly you get 2 defeats, and it just feels a bit more doom and gloom than actually what it really is?
I haven't seen much doom and gloom, to be honest, Liam. I've had a lot of positive messages. I've seen a lot of positive stuff. Of course, I'm quite pleased that there's a lot of opinions on it. By the sounds of it, that means there's passion. That means people are caring. I've had a lot of messages saying that they're now following the team again, supporters, and people care. And you can, when I'm seen out in Chesterfield and people are talking to me and stuff, it's positive. So what we've got to do is make sure we're in the best possible position for when the fans can't come back in. Now, a game like that on Tuesday, when I was reflecting on Wednesday after the game, I was thinking that's probably the one time I think, well, we miss the fans regularly, but I think 1-0 down against the league leaders and we've got the ball in their half for most of the half, I think the fans were missed in particular in that one, trying to edge us back in. I think you can get momentum with the 12th man, and they certainly would have given us that. So I think they were sorely missed on Tuesday, but we've got to make sure we're in the best position possible. Like I keep saying, when they come back in, May the 17th, if they can, we've got to make sure we're in and around it.
We probably haven't seen the best of Adi Youssef and Marcus Dinanga just yet. What would you like to see from them in the coming weeks and months?
Well, Marcus has been part of quite a few wins. He has performed very well. It's been a bit of a change of shape in the last few weeks. That's meant they've played with 1 striker, 2 10s that are pushing on. Becomes a front 3 most of the time if you have the ball. But he's just got to keep working hard. They've both been working hard in training, Adi as well. The training methods at Wrexham are very different here to Chesterfield, and I think he's needed some time to adapt. And you've got to trust me on that, like the Jack Clark one as well. If I'd have chucked Jack Clark into a game like that 2 months ago, he wouldn't have survived. He wasn't ready. He's ready now to consistently perform at the levels we want to. And we get information on that, and the staff feed me information on that. So we're taking care and making sure that players like Jack and Adi are ready to make an impact when they come on the pitch or if they start games.
Is that a case of trying to get Adi up to speed with the high intensity that you play then, just like you've had to do with Jack, as you say?
Yeah. And he's ready now.
So Barnet next then, is it a potential banana skin?
Well, I'm not so sure about that, but we're looking to get 3 points. We're focusing on ourselves. They've had a narrow loss at Stockport away from home, and also obviously the draw at Bromley. So they're a team that's still trying to pick up results despite there not being no relegation. Clearly they've gone the other way. They're playing with a freedom, and with their shape, their recent shape in the last 2 games, that the managers put some dribblers in there and some athleticism, and they're looking to win games and be on the front foot. So it should be a good game. We've just got to focus on ourselves, though. It's a nice pitch down there normally. I haven't been down there recently, but I presume that the surface will be good. And we're looking to play football in the right way, our way. That's the right way. If we're going from back to front quickly and hitting diagonals and trying to get second balls, that would be our way and that would be the right way. But we want to play the right way in terms of our own performance and how we've been performing and our identity in the last 3 months.
And just finally, what's your assessment of Luke Rawson and where do you see sort of his position in the squad this season? Is he in and around that first team, or is he one that you'll perhaps have to have a look at again next season?
Yeah, because we haven't got a 23s or reserve team, it's been difficult. And obviously the second loan he had set up at Bradford Bradford PA would have given us an opportunity again to analyse his games, because I watched his games at Alfreton. He started well at Alfreton on his loan, scored a couple of goals. Didn't go so well at the end of the month, but they were obviously struggling in the north, and Bradford were probably on the up a little bit more. So it would have been nice or good for us to see him in a winning team. That hasn't worked out. He's come back in training really well with the group. He conducted himself very professionally. He's a good lad, and he'll get an opportunity potentially in pre-season to play those games.